2 individuals have been identified and as suspects, which you will hear more about in just a few moments. First, I want to extend my heartfelt condolences to the families and the loved ones of the individuals affected here. No one should ever have to endure this kind of pain, certainly after burying their loved ones. This is unimaginable breach of trust and respect for those families and their loved ones. Our thoughts remain with the grieving families as they navigate this incredibly difficult time. I want to acknowledge and thank the dedicated officers of the Austin Police Department, and specifically the Homicide Unit, and all of their work that they've done here. And I want to acknowledge also how grateful we are for the cooperation and support of DPS, Texas Rangers, the Texas Funeral Service Commission, the Travis County District Attorney's Office, the APD Victim Services Unit, and other partners assisting in this investigation. This truly has been a collaboration for the pursuit of accountability and justice for these families that have been affected. Moving forward, our priority is to support the families of the deceased by providing clear information, resources, and justice they deserve. Our APD Victim Services are available to provide support throughout the process, and a dedicated liaison has been assigned to work directly with the families that are involved in this case. If you believe your loved one has been affected, or if you have any additional information about this investigation, we urge you to contact us immediately using the QR code. The investigation remains active and ongoing, and we are committed to ensuring that those responsible are held fully accountable. Once again, our hearts are with this family and everyone that's been impacted by this tragedy. Thank you, and now I'm going to turn it over to Lead Detective Bryce Bishop for more information.
Thank you, Chief. My name is Detective Bryce Bishop with the Austin Police Department Homicide Unit. I am the lead investigator on this Capital Mortuary Services case. First of all, I'd like to thank the Texas Funeral Service Commission, the Texas Rangers, APD Victim Services, and the Travis County DA's office for their assistance in this investigation. I'm going to provide an overview of the case. On March 10th, 2025, the Texas Funeral Service Commission received a complaint from a former embalmer for Capital Mortuary Services. The complaint stated that his name and funeral director credentials were fraudulently used without his consent to file multiple death certificates. These documents, submitted to the Texas Department of State Health Services, bore a forged electronic signature and misrepresented the complainant's involvement in mortuary operations during the timelines in question. The complainant also reported that experiments were being conducted in an establishment by Adeline Bowie on separated anatomical structures, specifically arms, on an unknown decedent. On April 2nd of 2025, an investigator with the Texas Funeral Service Commission contacted the Austin Police Department to inform detectives of this investigation. On April 6th of 2025, detectives with the APD Homicide Unit reviewed evidence related to the investigation. The evidence included a project thread that was titled Freedom Art Experiment. The thread showed materials including photos of severed arms and discussions on tissue decomposition, mold growth, and the use of materials like fishing line to suture the specimens. At this time, we can confirm that at least one decedent's body was being abused. On April 7th, 2025, APD detectives interviewed the original complainant and learned that the complainant's name was used 129 times for death certificates under the name of Capital Mortuary Services. On April 10th of 2025, APD executed a search warrant at Capital Mortuary Services where evidence was recovered related to the investigation. APD detectives also interviewed Bowie on that day, and she admitted to forging the complainant's identity and utilizing his credentials to process critical documents required for the intake and cremation of decedents. According to Bowie's own statements, she had to put someone's name in, and the complainant was still a drop-down option in the electronic system. When detectives presented Bowie with the death certificate amendment, Bowie admitted to utilizing the complainant's signature on the amendment without his presence or consent and using his driver's license to validate that. Adeline Bowie confirmed that the facility performed these procedures at the request of Med to Market, a company that had contracted Capital Mortuary Services for transportation and cremation services. Detectives interviewed Med to Market CEO Aaron Ali, who denied labeling the activities as experiments. He did acknowledge instructing Capital Mortuary Services staff to preserve and observe the progression of embalmed limbs over time. However, the Texas Funeral Services Commission confirmed that Capital Mortuary Services is not a licensed anatomical facility and that these activities are unlawful under state and health safety codes. On April 16th of 2025, a Texas Funeral Service investigator contacted the APD Homicide Unit and provided them with a link for a video to the Senate Committee on Health and Human Services. While reviewing the hearing, detectives heard Dr. Aaron Ali testify about his facility's practices. He claimed that MedToMarket is a secure, state-approved lab that uses only donated bodies for training licensed professionals like doctors and first responders. He emphasized the importance of dignity and respect in handling human remains and stated that all training happens only at their facility. The evidence obtained in the investigation showed the opposite of these statements, and Dr. Ali provided human arms to Capital Mortuary Services, a facility not approved by the state for experimental testing involving embalming fluid. Due to signing a legal statement swearing to tell the truth and then knowingly giving false information, detectives issued a warrant for the arrest of Aaron Ali for aggravated perjury in addition to the abuse of corpse charge. On April 18, 2025, Bowie self-surrendered at the Travis County Jail and was charged with abuse of corpse, a state jail felony, and 5 counts of tampering with a governmental record, second-degree felony. On April 28, 2025, Aaron Ali voluntarily reported to the Travis County Jail. Following the completion of the intake process, he was released on bond. Detectives have been made aware of allegations that Adeline Bowie was utilizing her status as a real estate agent to have families list their homes with her to pay for funeral expenses. Please contact us should you believe you were a victim or were approached by Bowie in this manner. We are aware of families that are still attempting to get remains of loved ones back from Capital Mortuary Services. This incident is still actively being investigated, so we ask for your patience. We are also aware of employees being asked or told to dispose of body fluids in unapproved places. This incident is also actively being investigated. Anyone who is a former employee of Capital Mortuary Services or may have further information regarding any suspicious activity that took place is asked to contact the Austin Police Department so detectives can further investigate. If you use Capital Mortuary Services for funeral or mortuary services for a family member or loved one, please know that the Austin Police Department is here to support you. We understand this may be a difficult and uncertain time. While using Capital Mortuary Services does not necessarily mean your family member or loved one was involved as a victim in this case, our victim services counselors are available to provide basic information, so please don't hesitate to email victim services at the email address here. Questions?
So the body that had the experience done on them, has that body been identified or is it still unknown?
It's still unidentified at that time. That's part of the continuing investigation.
Is there any scientific reason or validity to the types of experiments that were being done?
So according to the Texas Funeral Service Commission, no.
Have investigators actually found any bodies or limbs, or was the evidence based solely on photos and the reports that you got?
So we have physical photos of arms and then also confirmed through statements given in the investigation, but we have not located any severed body parts and through our search warrants.
How do you guys
Go ahead.
I know you guys are working with the families and offering the victim services. Is there anything else that they can do? I know you mentioned you guys are working, but any of the resources or anything else they can do to help, and what you guys are doing to help them as well? Sure.
So as discussed earlier, we are obviously getting inundated with quite a number of calls and emails and people reaching out trying to get information. Thankfully, the APD Victim Services offered to assist with that. If you do not believe something is arising to a criminal level and you just have questions about policies and procedures relating to funeral homes, you can contact the Texas Funeral Service Commission relating to that.
Have you been able to follow the money? I mean, was this some kind of a business venture that these two had together, and was there a considerable amount of money being changed between them?
Yes, ma'am. So that's part of the active investigation. We're still working on that. Obviously, this is still very early in the investigation. It's going to take time for that to come through.
We're also seeing that they weren't just linked MedToMarket and CMS, but also through Eternal Peace and Lifetree or whatever the name of the other company was. Is that all part of the investigation too?
Yes, ma'am. That's all part of the investigation. We did conduct a search warrant as well at Eternal Peace. Again, this is part of the active investigation that we're all trying to put the pieces together on.
Have y'all seen any examples of this type of, followed any other crimes for this type of situation?
I have not personally, no, ma'am.
So you say you'll definitely know there's one body involved, but did you see photographs of several different arms?
No, ma'am. The only photographs we've seen is the 2 severed arms that are mentioned in the affidavit associated with the arrest.
Oh, okay, and those are from the same person?
Correct. Well, we don't know the answer to that. That's part of the unknown victim. We're trying to figure that out. That's part of the ongoing investigation.
What type of people conduct their training at MedToMarket?
Well, according to Mr. Ali, it's doctors, medical personnel, first responders. I can't give you a clear answer on that. That'd have to be
Not
resorted to.
mortuary directors.
No.
For families who still have their loved ones' remains at Capital Mortuary, is there a timeline or an idea of when they would be able to get those remains?
I don't know that there's any remains at Capital Mortuary Services. It's my understanding that they are not open for business, but that would be something you need to reach out to the Texas Funeral Service Commission on. We conduct our criminal investigation and we'll assist with criminal-related stuff, but in terms of an administrative investigation, I don't know.
How many families are affected in this case, do you know so far?
We can confirm that 129 death certificates were filed incorrectly, but in terms of the true number, we don't know. We're still collecting that information. That's part of the active investigation.
When it comes to Ali, he, obviously you guys say that he lied under oath at the Senate committee. Is it safe to say that he was intentionally doing this even though he said his staff, obviously his staff was not trained to do this, but he said they were? I mean, is it safe to say that it was malintent?
I don't know what Mr. Ali's mission or goal with the statement was. I can just tell you that it was false.
Are the forged death certificates tied to bodies used in the experiment?
That's undetermined at the moment. We have no indication that they are related, but that's part of the continuing investigation.
We'll take one last question.
I guess we're trying to give our viewers some idea of the scope. Like, is this some kind of a business that people are, just making money routinely on, with corpses? What can you tell us about that?
I don't know, ma'am. Part of the deal with that is part of our ongoing investigation. We're trying to understand motive and why this would be a thing. I know that through the statements given, there is a cost-saving aspect to it with embalming fluid and making bodies last longer. In terms of the details of that or why that was going on, I don't have an answer for you on that as part of the continuing investigation.
How does all this affect the families?
I'm sorry, say that again,
How
sir?
does all this affect the families?
I'm sure it's extremely tragic to hear about this as a family. That's part of the reason we're trying to work with families to ensure that we are covering everything we need to do and can help them and assist them in any way, both criminally and administratively.
Thank you. Can I just ask a quick follow-up question after hers, because the answer contradicted mine? You mentioning, and it may not have contradicted, I just want to make sure I understand correctly. When I asked if there's any scientific validity to the types of experiments, you said no, but then you answered here that there may have been something to do with cost-saving measures.
Sure. So the statements given through Capital Mortuary Services with the persons involved was that the embalming procedure would allow for them to keep specimens longer. Whether or not Capital Mortuary Services had the ability to do that, we reached out to the Texas Funeral Service Commission, and they do not have the licensing to do something like that.